Then something stops them in their tracks. All three of the women's purses are neatly lined up beside each other.
Number 10. Why did the security guard open and close the door? The Gardner Museum Heist. On March 18, 1990, two thieves entered the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, bound the security guards with duct tape, and stole artwork worth millions of dollars.
When it was over, the thieves made off with 13 objects, estimated worth $200 to $300 million.
The heist is considered one of the most infamous in history, and none of the stolen pieces has been recovered. Early in the investigation, suspicion fell on security guard Richard Abath, who had opened and closed the side door the thieves later used to enter.
The Gardner Museum could have been as secure as Fort Knox, but that does no good if the guard's going to let the thief in.
Many believe this action signaled the robbers parked outside, but Abath claimed it was a routine move. However, a colleague refuted this, saying such behavior would have drawn the attention of their supervisors. Abath passed away in 2024 without clarifying his actions, leaving suspicions about his involvement unresolved.
The robbers say to both guys before leaving them, keep your mouth shut, and you'll get your reward in a year's time.
Number 9. Who was Dawn? Murder in room 1046. On January 2, 1935, a man checked into the hotel President in Kansas City, Missouri. 3 days later, he was dead. During his stay, a maid once found him alone in his room, with the door locked from outside. She also overheard him speaking on the phone to someone he called Dawn. Other guests reported hearing voices and a possible argument coming from the room. When a bellhop later found the man severely injured, he refused to tell anyone what happened. Even stranger, the name he used at check-in turned out to be fake. It took nearly a year before he was identified as Artemis Ogletree. Who was the mysterious Dawn and what transpired in that room? It seems we may never know. Number 8. What happened to the victims' heads? The Hinterkaifeck Murders. One of the most chilling murder mysteries in German history unfolded at an isolated farmstead named Hinterkaifeck in 1922. The family that lived there largely kept to themselves, so no one suspected anything was wrong until their mail began to pile up at the post office. When a group went to investigate, they discovered everyone had been murdered. Odd occurrences haunted the farm just before the killings: noises in the attic, missing house keys, and mysterious footprints in the snow. Even more disturbing, the killer clearly remained on the farm for days after the murders. Further complicating the strange case, officials sent the victims' heads to a clairvoyant for additional examination, but they were eventually lost during the chaos of World War II. Number 7. Why did she pack her bag and leave in the middle of the night? The disappearance of Aisha Degree. On the night Aisha Degree disappeared from her Shelby, North Carolina home, there were no signs of forced entry and no indications of foul play. It appeared Degree woke up, packed a few belongings in her book bag, and walked out into the dark. It was stormy that evening, and eyewitnesses spotted Degree walking alone in the rain along the side of a rural road. A truck driver saw her around 4 a.m., but when Degree realized she had been spotted, she took off into the woods and disappeared.
When her mother went to wake her up for school that morning, Aisha didn't answer.
Months later, her book bag was found miles from where she was last seen.
A man clearing brush found Aisha's book bag just off the highway.
Inside was a library book Aisha had not checked out, and a shirt that did not belong to her.
She's the last thing I think of when I go to sleep. First thing I think of when I wake up.
Number 6. Who was Joseph Augustus Zarelli living with at the time of his death? The boy in the box. On a chilly day in February 1957, a grisly discovery on the side of an isolated Philadelphia road shocked the entire nation. A boy's body was found tucked away inside a cardboard box. In 2022, after decades without a name, the boy in the box was identified through genetic genealogy as Joseph Augustus Zarelli. But while his identity has finally been uncovered, his murder remains unsolved. Little is known about Zarelli's life leading up to his tragic demise. Officials have reason to believe he was given away or placed for adoption after he was born. If so, where did he live, and who was responsible for him before his death?
We've learned Joseph Zarelli's biological mother and father are deceased.
Number 5. Who was behind the strange phone calls? The disappearance of the Springfield Three. On the day of their high school graduation, Suzanne Streeter and Stacy McCall celebrated by attending several parties in their town of Springfield, Missouri. They planned to sleep at Streeter's house that night before heading to the water park with friends the next day.
You say, "I love you" again on the phone, and I had no idea that was the last time I was going to hear her voice.
When the pair didn't show up the following morning, their friends went looking for them, but discovered that McCall, as well as Streeter and her mother, Cheryl Levitt, were gone.
No signs of struggle. Everything was nice and neat.
The only potential clues were a strange message on the answering machine and a series of obscene phone calls made to the house on the day the women were discovered missing. The identity of this caller may provide insight into the disappearances, but sadly, it has never been uncovered.
This room is dedicated to the nearly 10,000 tips that have come in over the past quarter century.
Number 4. Why did she drive to New Hampshire? The disappearance of Maura Murray. It's been over 2 decades since college student Maura Murray left her dorm in Amherst, Massachusetts, got into her car, and disappeared. No one knows Murray's intended destination, but she ended up stranded on a remote road in New Hampshire after crashing her car. A few eyewitnesses saw her there, but by the time police arrived on the scene, Maura was gone.
I think the most likely thing is that she was picked up by a local.
Unanswered questions swirl around the case, generating countless headlines and spawning dozens of theories from amateur sleuths all over the world.
They haven't ruled out really anything, so everything's still on the table.
Why did Maura travel out of state without telling anyone? Was she meeting someone somewhere? And what happened to her on that desolate stretch of road after she wrecked her car?
And Julie says her sister's actions leading up to the disappearance still don't make sense.
Number 3. Was the fire deliberately set? The Sauter children disappearance. On Christmas Eve 1945, the Sauter family went to bed only to wake up a few hours later to find their house engulfed in flames. George and Jenny Sauter managed to escape the flames with 4 of their children. However, despite their attempts, George was unable to save his remaining 5 kids. Officials attributed the incident to faulty wiring, but Jenny recalled hearing a loud thud followed by a rolling sound on the roof before the fire broke out. This led many to wonder if the flames had been deliberately ignited. Adding to the mystery, the human remains of the 5 missing children were never recovered at the site. Was the fire actually arson? Your guess is as good as ours. Number 2. How did he leave the bar without being caught on camera? The disappearance of Brian Schaefer. In 2006, Ohio State University medical student Brian Schaefer went out to celebrate the beginning of spring break. Before the night was over, he got separated from his friends and was assumed to have gone home without telling them.
When the lights come on at 2 a.m., he's nowhere to be found.
However, he was never seen again. Police reviewed the security footage and saw Schaefer and his friends entering the bar. The footage later showed his friends leaving, but other than a brief interaction between Schaefer and 2 ladies, there was no record of him exiting.
After the women leave, Brian is seen re-entering the bar just before 2 a.m.
The only unmonitored way out was through a construction area, which investigators believe Schaefer couldn't have navigated at night. So how and when did Schaefer leave the bar? And more importantly, where did he go?
Brian's remaining loved ones continue to search for answers.
Number 1. Did he survive the jump? D.B. Cooper. Just before Thanksgiving in 1971, a man going by the name of Dan Cooper purchased a one-way ticket from Portland, Oregon to Seattle, Washington. Mid-flight, he threatened to detonate a bomb if he wasn't given $200,000.
This is no joke. There's a bomb in here.
Once the ransom money was secured in Seattle, Cooper took it and parachuted from the plane somewhere over southwestern Washington. Decades later, many aspects of the case remain unsolved.
Somewhere over the forests of southern Washington state, Cooper jumped. He has never been seen since.
Cooper has never been identified, and his fate, along with that of the ransom money, is unknown. While some of the cash was eventually recovered, a sizable portion is still missing. The pressing question that remains today is whether Cooper even survived the jump from the aircraft.
As long as a man's got a knife, a cigarette lighter, and the clothes on his back, he could have lived indefinitely out there.
Can you unravel the mystery of these unsolved details? What are your theories? Let us know in the comments.
Their descriptions of the thieves were hopelessly sketchy.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.